Hey, my name's Connor. I work in marketing here at Replit. This is actually a follow-up video to one we previously uploaded on how we interview engineers here at Replit and what that process looks like. That link will be in the description if you're interested in watching it. It's great, but you can also jump in right here. In this video, YK and Derrick, who is a product engineer here at Replit, do a live coding interview together. And so this is pretty similar to how we do technical interviews and coding interviews here at Replit. Derrick is actually an ex-Facebook employee, and we actually interview a little bit differently than Facebook, but I think you'll find it really interesting. So let's jump right in.
Yeah, so I thought it might be interesting, on this call for me to try to solve one of those problems or like a similar problem.
Okay.
I guess it wouldn't be exactly the same as the actual process because you wouldn't do it like live, right? But yeah, maybe I can try it.
Let's do our best.
Okay,
I have a problem. I have a problem that we can do, and it'll give you sort of an expectation of what it might be like to solve one of these Replit problems.
Yeah, let's try it.
Give it a shot?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and send you a link to a data set.
Sure.
It's a fairly small data set as far as data sets go. So I just put that inside of Google Meet. And this data set is for airlines. And so this particular part has very little to do with what Replit does. It's sort of the process we're going to go through.
Right. And this problem is different from like the actual problems you ask the candidates, right?
That's right. I think it's about the same level of difficulty.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's what I'm gauging for right now.
Yeah.
So this is an airline CSV file, and this data has already been cleaned up for us. It has already been deduped, and it has been cleaned up by the Department of Transportation for the United States. What I want you to do is let's download this data set.
Mm-hmm.
I've already put it inside of a Google spreadsheet in case you wanted to view it visually. So you can take a look at that link. That is the Google.
Oh, I think I see it.
Yeah. And so that would give you a visual idea. And so really the goal here is I want you to use the programming languages you're most comfortable with. Let's write a parser that takes this as a text file. And let's try to turn this into some result that a program could actually use. Because by default, a CSV file is not very useful unless it's parsed into an object.
Yeah.
So you can approach this problem in any language that you feel comfortable working with. Do you have any questions about that? I can give you more context.
Sure. So we're going to parse this data, and then how are we planning to use it in this scenario?
In this scenario, the question is not so much about how we're going to use it as can we actually do the process of parsing. So let's try to do it without a library, because basically every programming language will have a built-in library that will handle this.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it that we would take a file line by line and turn it into a CSV, or turn it into some representation that's useful?
I see. Okay.
This will mirror the Replit process because it really has two stages. The first stage is, can we actually produce a function that parses? The second part is, can we actually do some very trivial analytics on a set of data that we just parsed?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Do you have a CSV file already for this?
It's right there. It says download.
I
put it in Google if you needed it visually.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I see.
So I would suggest opening a REPL in any language that you're comfortable with, and send me the link, and we'll get started.
Sure, let's try it. I'm just gonna create a Python REPL.
Great.
Yeah. I'm just gonna send this one to you. Can you see it?
Yep.
Perfect.
Make sure that you send the join link to me. So go to share and then copy the join link.
Okay. Okay, sure. Yeah, let's see how this one goes.
Okay. We'll walk through it together.
Sure.
Are you recording the Replit screen?
Yeah, I'm recording my whole screen. So
great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm in your REPL now.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and just drop the file in since I have it handy. So airline.csv if you click on that file, will contain all of the data. And again, I have the Google spreadsheet for you, which is exactly the same thing.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm looking at this data right now.
Great.
I guess the first line, it looks like just labels.
Yep.
I mean, normally I would probably use like Panda, data frame kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I guess if I wasn't using a library, I would just, read everything. I'm not sure what the format should be. Let me check the Google Sheets.
Okay.
And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that might be easier. You can see my screen, right?
Yep. Great.
Yeah, so I wanna visually check the data first.
Great.
And this Google Sheets contains the same data as a CSV file.
Yeah,
right?
it's just the CSV file put into there.
Yeah. So maybe I can write down some ideas here.
Sure.
So I guess the first idea would be, Panda data frame or Panda's data frame. And yeah, I do remember there are some modules for reading a CSV file.
You can certainly use that if you want to go look up documentation. Nothing's going to stop you from looking up documentation.
Right. But I guess I could just, read each line, split it by commas, and just do it that way too.
It's probably pretty effective.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's what a CSV parser does anyway.
It's true. Split it. Split it by commas. And I'm here, assuming that there are no commas in places we don't want them to be.
No, this is a sanitized CSV file. Good for asking, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're lucky that the Department of Transportation gave us good data.
Yeah. So I think in real life, what I would do is I would, use something like, like I said, pandas. But since you said I shouldn't use too many libraries, I'm guessing there might be a situation where we can't use something like that. So I'm just gonna go with the third approach, I think.
Okay.
For this one.
Sure.
Yeah. I think I might not remember the syntax. I'm just gonna do my best here.
You can look it up if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
It might just be open. I'll be honest. I can't remember for Python. I know I usually use Java, so I think it might just be open. There you go.
Oh yeah, I think it is. And then I think we can do yeah, I remember we could do with file open or something like that. But I think this is fine for now. Read maybe. I might need to look up.
Probably just read. It might be. I don't know.
Yeah, let me just try it.
Okay, just try it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks like it's reading everything. I wanted to do read line, maybe.
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I can try that. Because I wanted to, read the first line, and then I'm thinking.
What about successive lines? What do you think happens? You think that does it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think this should probably read the first line and the second line.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it is.
Okay.
And then I guess what I can do is split it, split the first line.
Okay.
Or let me see. I'm curious if I could do this to read the whole thing.
Okay. What would that do?
I'm thinking this would read the rest of the file.
Okay, try it.
Yeah. I guess what I can do is I'm just going to do, so I'm going to save this one just as a reference.
Okay.
Second line is this thing. And I'm thinking this might not be the most efficient way to do it, because if it reads the whole thing, we need to read the whole thing and then process the whole thing at once. But since the file seems pretty small, I think it's okay to do that. It's only like 4,000 lines. If it has like millions of lines, maybe
I'd be in trouble, huh?
yeah. But this one should be okay. So I'm just going to store it in data. And then I'm not sure what I'm guessing data will be a string.
Yeah, it's safe to say that it's a string.
Yeah. And I guess I can just check the first 100 characters and make sure that that's the second line. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, it looks like that's that's what I was expecting. And I'm assuming that this data contains everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can just try that too. Like that.
And so what did that tell you?
I think I want to check. I want to make sure that this, this is the last line. So I'm just gonna go back to Google Sheets and then check that. I guess I can just look at these numbers.
Okay.
Or this last number, 2593. Yeah, and then 57. Yeah, seems like that's what we wanted. So what this shows me is that this is what we wanted. Like this is the whole data.
Good sanity check.
Yeah.
Always good to have those sanity checks in there.
Yeah. And then I think I want to check the data a little bit more.
Okay.
Let me print the first 1,000 characters. So it looks like each line, is split into like, or each line in the data is shown as, each line in the data too, in this data variable.
Great.
Yeah. So then I guess we can split it. So I'm gonna do first line as this one.
Okay.
And then data is this, which is good.
Okay.
And I guess we can do first line split, comma, I think.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, let me check that. I don't know why it's taking so long. Let me try again.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
It looks like it's working. Yeah, so it's just
something interesting on the end there.
Yeah, I guess we could sanitize that a little bit. And I think what's happening is we want to, like we have these quotation marks, and we might want to get rid of that later.
Okay.
And yeah, at the end we have this, which we don't want. So we'll probably need to get rid of that later too.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think what I want to do is I want to go to the rest of the data and do the same thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I guess for now I can just put this data into a list of lists.
Okay.
So each line, yeah, I'm just gonna do it and then try to explain.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm thinking we can split it with the new line character. Let me just say data formatted, and this should be a list of strings.
Okay.
So then I think we can do map. I don't remember the syntax for it. I can look it up. But what I want to do is, I want to do lambda x, and then split x by comma.
Ah, I see. Okay.
I'm not confident with the syntax. I can look it up.
Okay. Well, let's just run it and see what happens.
Sure. And then I guess I can print this one.
Okay.
Actually, what I like to do is I like to use a debugger.
Okay.
So I'm just going to do this one. I'm not confident with the syntax, but I can try.
Okay. Cool. I've never seen that happen before. Let's try it.
Yeah. List object has no attribute map. Map might be a
that might be that might be a system function. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like the iterable comes second instead of first.
Right.
Lambda comma iterable.
Yeah. Let's try that.
I haven't written Python in a long time.
Right. This might work. Let's see. PDB trace, maybe?
I don't know.
Or debug?
It said trace back, didn't it?
Oh, wait. Let me see. Trace back.
There you go. It's coming from our code intelligence, so I hope it's working.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to do PDB right now. Print is good enough, I think. And I think map returns like the modified data.
I think so.
Let me just call it data modified for now.
Okay.
And we can try to print the modified data.
Okay.
Oh, this is a map object, so I might need to into a list.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so this should give us a list of lists if I did everything correctly. It's printing everything.
How do you know if it's a list of lists for sure? Because like I could see the data there, but like, is there a way to like inspect the type to make sure it actually is a list of list?
I mean, I can do type.
Okay.
Type of or type, and then this should return like these. Both of these things should return lists.
Okay. Well, let's try it. You might need to clear. You can clear it in the upper left.
Oh,
right, upper right. There's a clear in the upper right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
It looks like it worked.
Okay, so it met your expectations.
Yes, it's a list of lists, and if you look at this part, yeah, this is why PDB is sometimes useful.
You might just have to include the import at the top for our package manager. Pick it up.
For PDB?
It's possible. I haven't used PDB before. So you might have to include the import at the top. I'm not sure.
Oh, set trace. Yeah, I think this should work.
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna make my life easier if it works.
All right. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. The data for modified 0.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
it's swanky.
I think it's the right one.
Okay.
I think it's nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so this would be like my first step for solving this problem, and then if I have like extra time, I would clean up the quotations and these new line characters. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I feel like that might be enough. Did you want me to talk about it or continue with the problem?
Do you want me to tell you where I would go with it from there, or?
Sure. Yeah.
So the next step that I would ask is that people turn that into something that's actually useful. So it's not useful right now because the list of lists, the data isn't sanitized in any way. Everything is a string. The strings are not formatted correctly. They have the extra quotes. There's some new line characters that didn't get cleaned up at the end. So like go through, and then I'd ask them to turn it into a map, because a map is the only reasonable thing to get out of a CSV parser, right?
Right.
So that would require, sorry?
I was going to ask, what should the map look like then?
What should it look like?
Right.
What do you think?
Let me think.
I guess given the data available, and this is where you get a lot of insight about candidates, is given the data available, what should you choose for the shape of the data?
Yeah. So I'm guessing airport code, this could be used as the sort of like the primary key, or like the key in the map. And I'm guessing that. Let me share my screen again.
I guess I'll clarify. A list of maps is what I would expect.
A list of maps.
List of maps. I would not expect one massive map, although a candidate might go in that direction, and I might not stop them from doing like maps of maps. I don't think maps of maps is a particularly good way to do this, but I think that a list of maps is pretty good.
Right. So I guess each row would be turned into a map.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I guess we would have airport code, which is this one, airport name is this one, and so on.
Usually a candidate would be able to figure that out if they're doing a good job. If they get completely stuck and they can't figure out, like, especially if I tell them, okay, turn this into a list of maps, because list of list isn't helpful. If they can't figure that out, then I'll push them a little bit more and then back off and say, well, we can keep it that way. Being able to sanitize. So let's go ahead and go look at the data. There's one interesting thing about the data.
Sure.
Like how they turn the first row. So the standard for CSVs is the first row is always the definition of the columns. How they turn that into a map, and how they handle exceptions when that doesn't come out the right way. In this data set, it should always come out the right way. You should be able to take each of those column names and use them as the keys on objects. But people will have varying levels of success about figuring that out and then actually doing it.
I don't know if you have time right now, but I feel like I could try doing that part too.
Sure. List of maps. Okay. So let's focus on making this a list of maps. That'll be more useful to the programmer who uses your function.
I feel like we can do the list of map things first.
Great. Let's do that.
Okay. So here, I made sure that I have the right data, at least in a list of lists. And I guess I can use these to do that. Again, it might not be the most efficient way, but since we don't have a lot of rows, it's probably good enough. So I guess for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new list here.
Okay.
I'm just going to call it list of maps.
Okay.
And usually, I would do this and then clean it up later, but I'm just going to, implement it.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do for row in data modified.
Great.
Then I want to do for each column.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do for I in range of when data formatted.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing in this particular case? What's the purpose of the for loop here?
This one, I want to go through each column.
Okay.
Yeah, so this I would go from 0 to the length of data formatted -1.
Okay.
Yeah, and just, or not data formatted, I should call it, I should say first line.
Oh, okay. I was confused. All right.
Yeah.
Just the top row.
Just the top row, yeah.
Great.
And then I'm going to make a new object or new dictionary here.
Okay.
And when you say map, I think the best thing in Python to use here, yeah, is a dictionary.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to call it, I don't know, data.
Sure.
Data 2. Yeah, like, you know.
You're not using, you're using data already.
Yeah, row data. Yeah. And then I'm going to do row data, first line. So this gives us a label. So it's row I. And this should give us data.
Okay. What assumptions are you making when you wrote that?
I'm making that the data is clean. Like there's no, there's no missing data, and there's no missing column.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then I guess I can, well, I can do the, PDB thing again.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, let me just make sure that this is good. But yeah, I need to add or append row data to list of maps.
Okay.
And that way list of maps should become a list of dictionaries like after this for loop.
Okay.
Yeah, I can check that. List index out of range.
Uh-oh.
First line.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here. It makes sense?
Look at line 10. It makes sense.
Line 10.
And then
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put it. Let me just directly modify first line here.
All right.
Okay. Looks like I'm getting the same error.
You might have to actually use PDB then.
Yeah, that's true.
That would make sense.
Yeah. I think I can just print first line, make sure it looks good here.
Okay.
That's probably the first thing I would do. So it looks like it's correct.
Okay.
And I already checked data modified. It's a list of lists. I use a lot of printing, when I'm debugging too.
That's good. That's good. It's really important.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to find what the I is here.
Okay.
Oops. Oh.
Oh.
It looks like it's working for a while.
And then it hits a case where it does not work.
Yeah. Maybe it might be the last row or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. This is kind of frustrating.
So it looks like there's probably 2 characters or 2 items on the last row. What might the last row contain that would tell you the file is?
Oh, end of file.
That
might be what it is.
Might be end of file. So how could you trace what's in that last line that's causing it to crash?
0, 1. Actually, I was gonna just manually print the last line.
There you go. That's something you can do for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm looking at data modified, and to get the last line, I can just do -1.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, this might not be the best solution, but I think I could just do this.
What does that do? I actually don't. You got to tell me. Is that Are you slicing the last one off?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do here, at least.
That's clever.
Or it might be like -2 here, but let me see. Oh, looks like it worked.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I remember this is the last line. These numbers 5774 2593.
So did that sufficiently fix the program to unblock you?
Well, I can check it here.
Okay.
So list of maps. Let me check that this is a list, and then I can check the first bit of data. Airport code is ATL. Airport name is Atlanta. Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Huzzah!
Yeah. Airport name. Oh yeah. There's a little comma here.
Where?
You see my screen, right?
Uh-oh.
This one? Yeah, this one, I'll need to fix it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So it seems like they have used some unideal data format, haven't they?
Say it again?
I think technically they're not supposed to put commas in their data, but I think that what they've done is they've used quotes in order to tell us to please do not parse this.
Yeah, I think if they use quotes, that's kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll need to, instead of just splitting with commas, I'll need to split with quotes and then commas, something like that.
Possibly. I think there's a lot of ways to approach this.
Yeah, and you were saying?
Yeah, this was sort of an anticipated challenge of the problem. You did really well, and now you've realized, our parsing strategy needs to be more sophisticated than just splitting on a string. Because if a person gives us quotes, it means this is a literal type, and you cannot change my literal type. So, it's a good challenge. I think that you did great.
Thanks.
Yeah. What did you think of the meta reflective? What did you think reflecting on the plan?
I think it was good. I feel like we could maybe talk like quickly about the potential approach to fix that problem.
Sure.
Because I remember you were saying it, but I wasn't hearing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we could make a token-based scanner. So we say, here are the tokens. So we would go look at what the CSV standard is and what tokens we need to respect. And so when I say tokens, it means that there are specific things that are going to be on each line that have a symbolic value for a CSV. So clearly by doing this process, we realized, hey, new lines has a very important symbolic value. Comma is very important. And now quotes was the thing that got left out of the original implementation. It's like, this is a literal, do not parse within this literal. And so symbolic scanner could be as simple as these are the symbols that I recognize. And when I see these symbols, mark the locations where they're at. A lot of ways to approach that. The easiest possible way is a for loop straight through the string, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't have a string in a string.
Right.
In this particular case, in this particular case, it's just like you read all the way through the row. When you find quotes, you mark an open and a close and an open and a close. such that like you create a consistent implementation. It's tricky. It's actually really the same thing that Split does underneath the hood, right? Like this is really no different than what Split does. It just walks the string.
Yeah.
You could also just do something crazy clever where you do like a real symbolic scanner and you do a whole pass through the array, setting aside the indices of all of the tokens. And then we traverse the tokens. And then it's more pure, I guess, in that way, in the sense that you could change the tokens at any time.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, hey, between these two tokens, this raw string exists. Between this exists. That's more like a compiler level thought process of understanding how a string maps to a value.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I was writing it, I might just try a split by quotes, and assuming that the data is consistent, that might just
work. What
does
that yield you though?
I would have like a bunch of garbage, but I feel like I could just like get rid of those later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be an interesting thing. I think there's a lot of edge cases to chase.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm mostly concerned about how many edge cases do you end up chasing that work.
Right. Yeah, and maybe my approach is just like try see if it works.
Hey, you know what? Half the people can't do that in an interview, so that puts you ahead of the game. Just try something and see if it works.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like sort of one impression I had about this particular process is it's hard to actually like run the code, because I remember when I was doing whiteboarding questions, I didn't have to run the code. This is more realistic.
What did you think about the process of running the code? Did it make it more stressful or less stressful to check your thinking?
I mean, more stressful for me because I'm like, what's going on? But I can see like being less stressful for some other people if they're like more used to just running code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope we do it again. You might even get hired at Replit. Who knows?
Huh?
So that was great. Maybe you get hired at Replit. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?